sides, still kind of high toppy type of
That's him.
design.
That is the Chris Grimes. It's the first time I've seen a picture of him.
That's like the Chris cut.
This guy,
I'm gonna talk to Victoria, see if she can coin it.
this guy authored this book, the graphic novel, and we are Max and Michael of the world's only Animorphs podcast. I'm Michael.
I'm Max.
That's right. And we're here, guys, with our first ever live stream. This is a special bonus episode this week because tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to drop our episode covering book 2.
Yeah.
But this beautiful piece of literature just came out. The Animorphs graphic novel, The Invasion.
The revival has begun.
That's right. It's coming, man. This is a big year for Animorphs because...
really is.
First of all, we started the podcast, and that's all the rage right now. But also, like, the graphic novels are coming out, and there's still talk about the movie, which I'm sure filming has been delayed. But what was it? As of, like, June this year, they announced that they're, like, definitely in talks. And so I feel like if everything gets back to normal, 2021 is going to be a big year for the guys, for the animal morphers.
They'll probably get to start filming 2021. I bet you we won't see it till 2022 or later.
All that post-production and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be cool, man. That's going to be cool.
I mean, hopefully there's going to be plenty of very good visual effects.
Oh, yeah. There's got to be, man. They can do stuff now, in 2020.
They should get James Cameron on that.
That'd be awesome.
He's already got some practice in that area with the Avatar.
Yeah, with the big blue creatures.
Yeah.
With the special tails. Sound familiar?
Yeah, sounds familiar to me. Looks like they were half Andalite already.
Yeah, they're big and blue. And that would be cool if, like, a big famous director just kind of got obsessed with Animorphs. And
I'm sure there's a few of them out there.
And started, like, just getting really focused in on it. So with this graphic novel, Chris Grimes is he's the guy who drew the pictures. So that's probably trivializing it, huh? Drew the pictures, but he's the one who created the art for this. So, like, what are your first thoughts on it, Max? Because I was really digging. I'll show you my favorite page. You want to see my favorite page?
Yes.
This one.
Oh, yeah, where they get the morphing cube and everything. That was one of my first favorite pages in this one, yes.
The scene where they're, like...
My first impression, I was super stoked to finally get it in the mail and to open that up and to have can't believe I didn't bring my hardcover version. I'm so
I know, I got to see that hardcover. We got our wires crossed. We knew we were either recording an episode on book 6, which is there, or... the graphic novel.
I was wondering if he did any amount of reference work with David B. Mattingly, the guy who did all the original illustrations and everything. But
I didn't know about David B. Mattingly. What illustrations did he do? Like for the covers?
At least the first 6 books so far, he's been the cover illustration artist, yeah.
Nice. I don't think he did. Chris Grimes, I was reading on his Reddit AMA, said that he was in college when the books came out, so he didn't read them back in the day when he was a kid. And he had only read part of the first book whenever he went to adapt this. And so I guess a lot of it was he read through the rest of the book.
It's
and
so
then,
crazy.
Yeah, and then just came up with, like...
I wonder if he suddenly just, like, got so inspired halfway through reading the book that he's like, I got to make a graphic novel out of this. And contacted KA or just...
I think he was a hired hand.
Yeah.
I think he was a hired hand by Scholastic, but he put. I'm happy with what he did with it. Like there's some like hired gun. There's some issues with it. I mean, like, but overall, to me it was exciting to see someone's interpretation. It's cool to see just like pictures of what I've read so many times,
right?
And what I've kind of had in my head.
See how somebody else visualizes what you've been seeing all this time, just in your own head canon.
Yeah, exactly. And some of it was right on. Like the construction site to me was pretty close to what I imagined it.
Just about all of the settings were pretty dead on to me.
Yeah.
The perspective shot that we got from the initial for the Yerk pool was a little confusing. Part of it you see where he was going for the depth of, like trying to put proportion there of how small the people were when you get down in it.
Yeah.
But because of how big he made the up close perspective, it almost makes it look like it's maybe about the size of the Bat Cave, which I never got the impression that the Bat Cave was quite as big as this was supposed to be. Because they describe it as being able to have like a whole mall.
Yeah. See, I thought it looked pretty big. I mean,
I'm not saying it looks small, but just the way I think it's because of the second page and the way it's laid across a bend in the spine.
I thought it was
maybe if I
interesting.
get
The first
flat.
thing that stuck out to me about everything was that Chapman has a beard. Which
Mm-hmm.
is strange. I never thought for some reason I saw Chapman as like balding, like kind of older looking.
Probably
dude.
because of the
Makes
the
him look distinguished.
character actor in the TV series. But
Did he have a beard too?
Yeah, he kind of looks like the Smoking Man, if I remember correctly, from the X-Files.
I'm going to Google that. Mr. Chapman, Animorphs TV show.
But yeah, to put it almost makes me now want to go back and reread the first couple of see, like this dude almost looks like the Smoking Man from X-Files.
See that looks like a Chapman to me. I think
with that clean cut, and the shaved face, because he's an assistant principal.
Yeah, that's what you would think, is that he might be.
Although if there's going to be either of the principals that's going to have a beard, usually it's the assistant.
Right. He's having to compensate.
He's the younger one, yeah. He's the edgier, trying to fit in with the kids somehow.
So, what are your thoughts on the aliens, the monsters,
aliens.
the Hork-Bajir and the Taxons?
Let's start with the enemy side. Cool with the way they did the Yerks. Obviously, I mean, it's a slug.
Yeah.
I really like that the artist's style is very reminiscent of the same artist that did right as I went to say it, I'm thinking of the comic book instead.
Invader
Johnny
Zim.
Invader Zim and Johnny the Homicidal Maniac,
Yeah.
almost borderline in some areas, which I can't remember either artist's name off the top of my head. So.
It definitely had. He was going for sort of a kid-centric thing. Like, it's a graphic novel, but it's not super like violent. It's not like super edgy. It's kind of the soft features on the kids and everything. I see what he was going for, and
it's got a very like late 90s, early 2000s style of feel to it. Like that, I feel like a lot of the cartoons that were coming out around that time, both on Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, were kind of in that vein of drawing style.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of similar. There were some of them that had that like Puffs commercial bulbous nose thing going on with the shimmer and shine at like every no matter what angle, there's always that little ting shimmer coming off the nose.
I like how he kind of made Rachel and Jake look similar because they're cousins.
Yeah.
I've heard some people question his choice to give Marco short hair rather than long hair. But what do you think? I think the Andalite.
I guess it depends on your time frame. 'Cause some people think that is long hair.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but in the book, they're like he has.
But yeah, no, I think he had more like Tobias's length hair.
Right.
And Tobias had more like his length hair.
And then there's the debate that Tobias's book cover model had dark hair, but then he's described as having light blonde hair even in the novel.
If you notice, their book cover model tends to morph itself. It seems like they changed models a few times.
Yeah, that's true. Now here's the first time we see Prince Elfangor coming out.
Yeah, totally dug that first shot. I love that he had the blood coming out of his nose. And everything.
And it was like dark blue blood.
Yeah.
Like he's even like got it over his chest.
But then some of these shots, it makes him look kind of like he's part cow instead of part like deer.
He did make the body,
some of the proportions,
the horse part.
Little,
the horse part of the Andalite bodies did seem kind of big. They didn't look super stealthy,
Right, yeah.
And I was expecting
not
the
as
tail,
sleek as they get described in most of
I was expecting the tail to be a little more, bladey. Yeah, here's what you're talking about with the. Sorry to hit your hand there. With kind of the cow body, kind of the cow body, like
this
where it's
ginormous. Like, dude's got cakes, man. Like setting it up.
He's got a dump truck
on the rack. I love how Visitor 3 has got this almost like zebra stripe type thing going on too.
I thought that was interesting, but once again, he's not going for like bloody Sin City Zack Snyder type of graphic novel. Oh, that's a good shot too of like the body of the.
I will say, minor critique on the Andalite body was the tail. Not a terribly large fan of the way he did the tail. I mean, I understand why he did it because the description always makes it sound more like a scorpion's tail.
Yeah.
but I feel like it's obvious that he hadn't read or seen any of the other books, because if he had seen book 8, I think it is, with Axe on the cover, and the very clear and obvious way that
it's like more
Andalites, that more scythe-like adaptation that they have on there.
You got to wonder where he did get his references, like,
because I mean that looks like a King Scorpion's tail, like the bulbous end,
Yeah.
But it looks like it has that real sharp little point
on
here.
I think that he definitely gave his own interpretation into this, and he probably hasn't read the whole series. I think I even read that he's gotten through the first few, but like that's something that comes out a lot in the books, is that she'll describe like how dangerous and scary the Andalite tale is.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had a whole overall style of like, we're going to make it kind of cartoonish, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, it's, even though some stuff isn't exactly how I pictured it, it's still like, okay, I see that he was going for an overall vibe here. I mean, I bet he's getting a huge butt kicking by people who are like, hey, this is different from what I imagined. It can't be real, But, like, he's got his own thing going on.
I wonder how long it's going to take before there's a YouTube read-through of this where they go image by image and have it, like, kind of dance on the screen, kind of like focusing in and zooming up through it as they're speaking and reading it and describing the image.
Maybe we should do that. Copyright infringement pending. Yeah. And you had a hot take on the Hork-Bajir too. What were you thinking about the
Hork-Bajir? I actually dug the Hork-Bajir. I like the more dragon-esque type of feel that they've got. Kind of like a dinosaur almost. Kind of reminds me of a velociraptor or something.
Yeah. Almost
like I half expect to see another hook coming up off of their foot somehow, like one of their raised talons.
Right. I was expecting more blades,
Yeah.
Like more blades on them.
They've got like more like spikes, it looks like, than blades. They look more cylindrical than sharp on some of the images.
And then they have that
especially
arm,
their arm ones,
They have that that arm thing that I guess it's like holding their gun
those,
or something
those
like
paulders. Those like shoulder armor pieces. I don't remember that being described in the book.
I don't really remember that being described in the book either.
I mean, I get it. It's part of the costume design that he went for to give them something to strap up their Draken beams.
The Taxons look pretty terrifying. They look disgusting.
They look adequately disgusting.
Yeah.
They
a
don't
lot of teeth as described.
Yeah. They don't quite fit my original vision for it, but this is his interpretation, and I think it still definitely fits the description given in the book.
I don't remember Taxons having 4 eyes. See how
I definitely remember them having multiple.
They did have multiple eyes. Okay.
Red bulbous eyes.
Gotcha. See, that's another thing that's cool about this.
Multiple, like even more than 2.
It's like seeing this interpretation of the story, and you're constantly wondering, like we just read book 1 like a couple of months ago, and I'm still like, man, I wonder if this is like directly from the book, if this is because like some of the stuff is like, man, I can't think of an example, but like some of the stuff was, it's cool to see an outside narration of the story. It's not coming from the from Jake. It's like an outside narration.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the one person's perspective on the story.
Yeah.
It's a third person perspective on the whole scene.
That we've never seen, but it's still he'll slip in little things that like were only that were only in the book, that like it's kind of the subtext here. Like if someone were to start the series with the graphic novel, I think they'd be missing out on a lot of the subtext and like kind of the stuff bubbling under the surface that you hear from the book.
There's a lot of extra emotion and thematic text that's not included in here because they're having to condense some amount of it because they're given more room for that graphic image rather than the dialogue. So they're kind of just sticking mostly to the dialogue and not doing a whole lot of narrative build around it.
It's all about the visual.
Yeah, they're using the visuals for the narrative.
This is actually the first graphic novel I've ever read, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah?
I've never read another graphic novel. So
I've read a handful, and I really enjoyed this one.
I took time, like really looking at each page and observing the drawings. This part's cool. This is the first time we see a morph happening when Tobias is morphing from red-tailed hawk to human in Jake's bedroom. And I forgot how instrumental Tobias was in like.
I thought we
drawing
watched him
everybody
morph
in.
dude like way earlier on.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he morph dude?
You've already done Dude and Homer, I think, by this point.
Officers.
Haven't
Oh
they?
yeah, and Cassie. Yeah, I was skipped a Okay, here we go. Here's I like how Jake morphs into his dog,
Yeah.
and he's like still got the shirt on as the dog. That's pretty good. See, that's another really cool part about it was like
Chonk.
Yeah. I love the sounds. I like seeing the morphing being done because that's something you always visualize. You know, it's cool how he got the kind of the in between.
And then yeah, like right before that, they show Tobias going.
There we go.
Cat.
That's what I was thinking about. Yeah, Tobias going to cat.
It's definitely still Tobias, but
Yeah. I like how Tobias has the earphones on.
he's ready to go from the get-go, man.
Yeah. I like how, but that's cool how he's, kind of like that.
Oh yeah.
Sort of the loner with the headphones on all the time, kind of lost in his own world.
At
But
the
yet
time,
they're
it
all
was a
still
Walkman.
friends.
You know, it was a Sony Walkman.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Probably CD.
Well,
in there.
being his predicament, it might have been the Casio version.
I like how they show Jake's house. It's like this big suburban house, kind of gives you a
Two-story, two-car garage.
Yep, kind of the perfect world,
Yep.
And that sort of. Sets
I hate that
Jake
they
up.
did a separated garage, though. Those are so trash.
I like seeing Cassie's barn. Too.
Cassie's barn. I mean, I get it. I wasn't ever picturing it as a big red barn, though. Like I get it, stereotypical, but
kind of like here's her house.
I did dig the design, though. I dug the design, not making it the typical like A-frame barn,
Yeah.
or
Classic barn. What else did I like in here that I kind of highlighted? What did I bookmark? There's the meeting with the sharing. This is the meme that everybody's going crazy about on one of them on the Animorph subreddit, where it's like Marco saying, "You guys are crazy. This isn't a comic book or whatever. This is for real." Right here.
bah ha ha ha.
And then people are also
breaking
taking
that fourth wall.
Yeah, exactly. People are also taking that scene where Marco punches Jake. Or sorry, Jake punches Marco for suggesting that Tom is a controller, and then they have like the speaking bubbles blank, and so it's like fill in.
Oh,
why did Jake
kind of
punch
like
Marco?
the Batman slapping Robin meme.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I also liked Big Jim. We could
Nice.
see the visuals of the animals.
Yes.
That scene was pretty
I'm glad
exciting.
that the internet is already starting to grab a hold of this and put it around.
Oh, of
because that
course.
means that many more people are going to get to see it and get interested in it and be like, "What the is this from?"
Yeah, you got to wonder how many new fans this will bring in. Like, how many people are going to see the graphic novel online? I was going to say or in a store, but I don't know if people actually go to bookstores anymore.
Right.
I'm sure some do, but some kid's going to see this and probably grab it and be like, "What's going on here?" But once again, I recommend starting on the books and then using these as supplementary. I feel like I've seen Chris Grine working on the next, inking out the next graphic novels. I know he's going to do at least 2 more. It would be exhausting to do every single book, know?
Right.
But it would be cool, if he...
He's going to have to start combining books if he's going to get through them all.
Yeah. That would be cool, like a big, thick, 3 or 4 books in one. But they do have that format of, the reconnaissance, the big mission at the end. So it'd be weird to kind of smash all those together. I hope he does at least one, Andalite Chronicles, Hork-Bajir Chronicles. I hope he does Andalite Chronicles.
Yeah.
Although
Not the Elmist.
Ellimist would be cool, too. That would be cool, too. What else do we got on here? There they are going into the Yerk pool, which Max thinks is too tiny. Because
down there looks really big and spacious
Yeah.
because they got the little tiny dotted people, but just I don't know, maybe it's because of the Kandrona, which is what I'm assuming these are, is the Kandrona.
It's either that or
devices.
just lighting. I don't know.
Dual purpose, right?
Yeah, dual purpose. Looking for the lighting.
We've got smart lights now. I'm sure they had way more intelligent lights that could do both.
Yeah, it's cool how they all morph into animals.
Which makes me
down in the
wonder,
pool.
are those supposed to be incandescent tube?
fluorescent Kandrona?
How perioded is he making this? Is there any attempt to bring it forward and redate it? I don't see them with cell phones, although they do have cell phones in the original series.
I think it's definitely
Just not the type that we have.
I think it's definitely in its time, because they're in the mall, they're playing the arcade. You see the stores, games and stuff. You know,
Dude, there was one that I really thought the name was funny for. I think it's on the previous page.
which one is it? Candy Town? For reals? For reals?
Yeah, for reals.
Yeah, it's pretty dope, man. What other big takeaways did I have from this? I think it's a cool. I like how he stuck to the subject matter. He would not be allowed to like make up his own stories and stuff like that. But I think the fact that he, wasn't super familiar with the series kind of lends itself to like he feels the weight of the fan base for sure, and so I know that Chris put a lot of thought into it. I really like it, man. It was really exciting for me to sit down and see someone else's interpretation of it. There's nothing that I took huge umbrage with. Like, no, I think the aliens could have been a little bit scarier. The Taxons look scary enough, but the Andalite could have looked a little bit fiercer. But that would look weird if you have like a super fierce looking Andalite and then these kind of cartoony type children. There.
I dug his interpretations of Visor 3's morphs. Those were pretty.
Yeah,
good.
Those were cool. Yeah. It's nice to have visuals for that. Do the visuals from this influence your preset visuals from the first time you read the books?
Maybe a little bit with that first monster. The second monster, I didn't get the same like fat head interpretation. I think I'm sticking to my more Hydra-esque interpretation with a little bit thinner neck
at the end.
Yeah,
when he's in the
the fireball spitting monster.
Yeah, he has. I like how the sounds are like, foom, foom. Let's see what are the exact sounds.
Yes, his onomatopoeias were very good.
Yeah, vroom, roar. Yeah, it's chaos, man. There's a cool shot here of them, all the animals in battle morph, or all the Animorphs in battle morph. In their current battle morphs. Like,
yeah,
like right here.
Cassie with her stallion.
Yeah, she's a horse, It's like
African elephant.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely perfected that as they went on. I like the scene where they're deciding to become Animorphs. Like, they're talking about it.
Right.
I think Cassie says it in the book where she's like, a long time ago we used to use animals' spirits to, we used to call
like
upon
Native
animal
American
spirits. Yeah, and it's like we're basically just doing that, I don't think I have that.
We're getting to do what our imaginations thought our ancestors were getting to do.
Yeah. And the whole thing at the zoo is pretty exciting. That was cool, too, seeing the garden's, like, background,
Yeah.
like, behind the scenes. And I like how every time they acquire an animal, their eyes kind of go to that
like, spiral. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The confusion.
I like it. They go into a trance. Marco and Jake almost get captured in the tiger enclosure. And then, see... What I really like about this book is the way there's 3 pages that strike me the most, and there's this first page when you first open it up, and it's just beautiful coloration.
It's like Tobias, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's Tobias because there's like the pastel and the yellow. I really like this page; it's super calming, Yeah. And then there's that page with the Andalite giving them with Prince Elfangor
morphing cube, yeah.
And then I really like the last page too. I like that he took the exact last words of the books. He's like, until then we fight. We posted this on our Instagram, only Antipod.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. It's cool.
Yeah, that is a really dope shot.
I think some of the emotion, like is apparent. Like I like this scene where right at the end where Jake's laying in bed. And he's like, Tom looks crazy dead, when he comes home. He looks like a zombie or something like that. But, like, Jake's sitting there lying in bed. He's crying.
Just in the one shot, though. Like, no scrapes or anything in any of the other shots.
But then, like, he sees Tom's home, and he kind of feels a little bit better about it.
It's like, cool. He made it.
You can kind of see the weight that everything has had.
It seems like any time Jake's involved, Tom's a main centrifuge for the tension.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially in book 6, which we'll get to when they're like sitting around the table. At the beginning.
Midget.
Yeah, they say they drop a hard M there.
Hard M.
But it's cool, man. There's the kind of the dinosaur-like Hork-Bajir again, and I like it. Did you like it? What would you rank it? 1 through 10? Because you're still you skimmed through the end of it, but you're still reading the last of it.
Yeah, I also really dug the fact that they handled the retcon.
What do you mean?
With Jake being able to somehow thought speak to
the
morphed Tobias at the very beginning with Dude the cat. because in the first book, the way she originally wrote it, they had him think, "Can you hear me?"
Yeah.
And Tobias responds to
hear
him, "Yeah, I hear you just fine." He's like, "Whoa, I didn't think it would work like that." And then he just changes it to what she actually meant and what she uses the rest of the time throughout the rest of the series of, "Oh, wait, no, it doesn't work like that. You can't hear," which I think is funny because the way they handle that later on in the series, whenever like Axe or somebody else morphs into a human, they still can't thought speak either. They have to use spoken word,
which is interesting because he's an amorph.
Exactly.
That's it. But it is like a multi-morph that he acquired from all of the Animorphs. So maybe
or even when he's, well, I don't want to spoil this one, but
no spoilers. That's part of the World's Only Animorphs podcast. We go book by book. But yeah, here's that scene. It's like where, because in the book, obviously, there is that. What do you call it? Retcon? What does that mean? What does retcon mean?
Retroactively, retroactive.
Like correction?
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
I always forget what the con exactly is, but basically where he goes back and changes a minor detail, sometimes not so minor, detail, and makes it to where now this is what the actual reality is for this timeline, this story.
It was a good correction.
This universe.
How much input do you think K.A. had
I think
in this?
Continuity is what con is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, continuity. I like that. What do you think K.A. Applegate's role in this was? Do you think she just was kind of like, yeah, I wrote the books, I'm going to stand back and let you interpret this? Or do you think she had input in any of the dialogue? Because, again, it's more of a visual thing,
I've gotten the impression
we know the story
from some of the interviews that I've managed to read from her that at this point, her and Michael are more or less like hands off on most everything Animorphs.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it's all Scholastic because they kind of retained all the rights for most of it. So they make all the like major decisions as far as that's concerned. I'm sure she probably got like notification and like might have gotten a courtesy like, here's how I'm doing it. You like it? But
yeah,
I don't think she was able to do much of anything other than be like, cool.
I like this preview in the back of the next one coming out. It shows
with all the bird morphs.
I like how
eagle,
he kept
the osprey.
He kept the format of like, hey, here's a preview for the next book at the back of the book.
Yeah.
Would you ever read the previews back in the day, or would you? You would.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I would. I knew that I was going to get the next one, and so I would like skip it for just so I could have a completely new. Or maybe I would read it. I don't know.
No, I always love previews like that. Like even now with mangas and stuff like that, I love watching the YouTube previews of these are the first few dropped images from this next chapter.
Yeah.
But I always used to read through whatever was coming up. Like I would read cover to cover literally on these. I would read the little excerpt on the back every time. I would everything that was available on it. I was reading it because I was so like engulfed by this as a kid.
We're in it, dude. Have you thought about like what we're doing with going through every single episode? Do you know how many episodes we're gonna have? I mean, like, what is it, 54 in the original series?
Yeah, 54 in the main series, and then like, what is it, 6, 8, 9 additional books, something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's like 63 books altogether.
It's a daunting task if you think about it. I don't know. I know we call ourselves the world's only Animorphs podcast. Obviously, there's other Animorphs podcasts out there. Fandalites, Anamorphin Time. I was reading about one this morning. There's a ton of them.
And see, all the great pun names are already taken, so we had to go with the
yeah. But I don't know what their
sardonic name
is. I know that our format is like book by book by book by book. We're gonna cover it. Then we're gonna do episodes on the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get that going. We just saw that there's some on YouTube, as well as Amazon Prime, which you have to pay for some reason. But we need to shout out some of our followers, man. We got a follow all the way from Vietnam on our Instagram page.
Followers.
Yeah, dude. Let's see. Don Con 2. She says, hi from a fan of Animorphs in Vietnam. Geek Baked saying, finally someone talking about something that truly matters. And this great Instagram page of the Animorphs Collector. If you guys haven't seen this Animorphs
Ooh.
page, definitely follow the Animorphs Collector on Instagram. He's got
Oh,
all
yeah.
the cool little
Oh, Tom and
bookmarks.
Jake. Oh, that was cool.
He's
yeah.
got all this stuff.
The actors from the
like
series.
promo sheets, and he'll do giveaways and things.
Oh,
I say
that's
he,
dope.
could be a she as well. I'm not
They.
totally sure.
Let's go with they.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the most safe pronoun these days.
But they have all of the cutouts and like toys and stuff.
Oh man,
I love it.
I didn't
dude.
realize
I know
all the toys.
I never had any of the toys. Did you have any of the toys?
No, I'm so
had any
upset at this point.
But shout out to
I
the
feel like-
Animorphs Collector.
Because
on
like I had a
Instagram.
lot of the. It's so funny that it's Animorphin time because I had a lot of the Power Rangers toys, like the Zords and shit.
Yeah.
But or the the individual characters with the flip heads.
Yeah, those are cool. Those are cool. You can flip it from like regular face to masked face.
Right. Yeah. Which was always weird. It's like I want to be able to do that with the body then.
Right.
Like at least give me a shell version that I can snap onto the outside of it, like I'll take the limited arm movement.
How did we miss Animorphs toys? I don't understand that.
I feel
How
like a
did we
failure
miss
as a 90s kid now.
Maybe they had them like.
They obviously
for our
weren't
time.
in the stores that I was going to. They weren't in my Walmart,
Yeah. But everybody follow Only Annie Pod on Instagram. So what we're gonna do is drop this episode as a bonus episode, our first live stream.
Bonus.
And we're also gonna drop our episode covering book 2 as well. So there's gonna be 2 episodes this week. We're gonna do special
New book
episodes for
every
all
week.
Of for all of the special books. So like all the Chronicles, all the Megamorphs. Are we going to do Alternamorphs as well?
I say we do it.
Yeah. Okay.
I say we not only do it, but we get like 3 other friends in here, maybe 4, and have them read as it jumps from perspective to perspective. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you know
Not actually
anyone
read
else
through
who's
them.
into Animorphs?
Yeah, at least 2 or 3
Cool.
other people.
We got to get him in here, man. We should also
Yeah.
talk to Chris Grind, I think, at some point.
That'd be really dope.
Yeah, to have him on here. He's been
Talk
very
to
receptive,
Chris,
man.
talk to Catherine and Michael.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. Chris has like followed us on Instagram, and he's liking our stuff. So
I'd like to also find some of the ghost writers for the latter half of the series.
that would be cool too. Shout out to Chris Grind. Chris, if you're watching, I love the graphic novel, man. And thank you
Same.
for bestowing
Totally
this visual adventure for us that so many of us have had pictures in our head of this stuff for years since childhood, and you've taken on the task of like giving us your interpretation of it, and it was really very exciting to me to just sit and look at the pictures before even reading the text and really just going slow through it. And I really took my time with it. So thank you, Chris, for this creation of Animorphs, the graphic novel. I love it. I can't wait for more. It's going to be awesome.
Me either. I'm wanting to see when the next one's going to get released because I'm jonesing now.
Jonesing, man. I got to get hardback next time.
Yeah,
I got
do
soft
it.
cover this time. I got to get hardback. But maybe
Do
I
it
should keep
mostly
soft
because
cover
it's going to
for continuity.
Yeah, it's just going to, because soft cover like this, you're going to get the warp in the spine, the bend, the tear.
The only reason I didn't get hardcover is just like $2 or $3 more, but
Right.
But I kind of feel like I should have splurged for that. I've got a lot of books coming in the mail, so I'm looking forward to that. I don't want to do any more Kindle reading. Reading them on the Kindle is cool because I can make notes for the show really easily.
Yeah.
Like throughout. But I'd rather read. I love the hard copies of the books. Any other last thoughts on the graphic novel, Max? What do you got?
No, man. I think we've said it all. I'm totally excited for the next one. I think this was a dope interpretation. Really digging that they're finally launching back into this series full force and getting some more content out there. And
we're in an Animorphs world.
Chris,
man.
keep it up, man. Doing a great
Keep it
job.
up, Chris. We love it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the world's only Animorphs podcast. New episodes every Wednesday. We're on Spotify. We're on Libsyn. We're on Apple Podcast. Follow Only Annie Pod on Instagram. We're going to be posting on there pretty often, and you can always find whenever we have like new shows and things like that, and along with the occasional live stream. So also, we got a new YouTube channel. Still working on that. Right now, we're still on the Michael Baston YouTube channel, but pretty soon we'll have a new YouTube channel for you.
Full
to
migration.
To. That's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking it out. Until the Andalites return. Until then,
we fight.